Greetings, everybody. Greetings, royal family, and welcome new followers and friends. All right. So it is time for a day three recap of the Megan Thee Stallion versus Milagro Gramz defamation lawsuit. All right. So this might be a longer video than the previous one. Okay. T Farris took the stand today. Clinical psychologist and forensic psychologist Dr. Walker testified. She took the stand today as well. A representative, senior vice president, or I think SVP, anyway, of Rock Nation, who was working with Megan Thee Stallion. He took the stand today. Nicki Minaj's name was brought up. She was shaded. It was just a whole lot going on, right? So Megan Thee Stallion did not take the stand today. It was assumed that she might have taken the stand today, but it's okay. What I think is that they're going to be waiting for the very end, and she might be the last witness. That's just my assumption. All right, so as you're coming in, all that YouTube stuff, pay your admission fee, like the video, drop down in the comments, share your thoughts, subscribe, share the video, etc., etc., all that good stuff. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. All right. So the jury is seated at 9 a.m. each morning, right? I arrived at 10:05 to be exact. And when I arrived, the only thing that I missed was they were playing video and audio of DJ Academic's deposition. Okay. I didn't miss much. I personally wasn't really interested in that. But I did walk in where Caesar McDowell, who is the CEO of Unite the People, does that name sound familiar, or that organization sound familiar? He was being deposed and his deposition was being played on the monitors in court. So them playing his deposition serves as him being a witness taking the stand, which is kind of annoying. His deposition was extremely annoying. He was very combative. He didn't want to answer anything. He was tired. He was frustrated. He had been sitting for hours. He was saying that he's tired and he wants to pee and he needs a smoke break. And he stated that, unless you want me to pee right here, I need a smoke break. Now, this is an adult male who is a CEO of a nonprofit organization behaving like this during a deposition. Kudos to, Megan's team, who was, deposing Mr. Caesar, because that lady had the patience of a saint. But I guess in instances like that, you have to let people, make fools of themselves. It was so immature. It was so, ugh, okay? He was asked, what is Tory's role at Unite the People? Caesar, is obvious at this point that he does not want to sit for this deposition. He's being rude. He replies with a lot of, I don't know, and I don't remember anything, and I don't know nothing. And this is the person who offered to help Milagro with legal representation. I don't know if you guys recall. And he offered to do this pro bono, which means for free, right? So as the CEO of Unite the People, Caesar was being asked about why did Unite the People take on Milagro as a client, because their usual client is not someone like Milagro. He replies, I don't remember. Their usual client is someone who is behind bars and needs immediate legal representation, and needs assistance getting out of jail. Milagro wasn't in jail. She wasn't locked up. So that's why he was asked, why did you take on Milagro as a client? And basically the angle here is that Caesar from Unite the People took on or offered to take on Milagro as a client for free because of their association with Tory and because of Milagro's association with Tory. Okay, you see where they're going here? Now, he says that, he doesn't remember why he offered to take on Milagro as a client. So as a CEO, you should definitely know the answer to these questions, but he's stonewalling. So it's obvious that he doesn't want to answer any question. Much like Kelsey, when she took the stand in the California versus Tory Lanez trial, she pled the fifth. I don't know. I can't remember. Can you repeat this? Just annoying. All right. So there was a jail call that was played from Tory to Caesar. Now, at first, I couldn't make out like what they were saying. The audio was really, really bad. There were talks of paperwork. Milagros' name was mentioned, of course, by Caesar, and he was reading something. Caesar was reading something to Tory, right? And then I realized as I kept listening closely that he was reading a statement, a press statement to be exact, that he plans, Caesar that is, to release to the public stating that Unite the People will be representing Milagro. And this was after Milagro was served by Megan Thee Stallion and her attorneys in this very case that is playing out in trial today. Now, during the jail call that was playing in court, the judge asked for the audio to be paused. I just write down these things that I think is interesting, just to kind of give you an idea of what's happening in the courtroom. So the judge asked for the audio to be paused, and she says, whichever one of you jurors that is using their cell phone, please put it away. Thank you. Now, she was very kind. She wasn't really, her demeanor to me is very much no nonsense. I got an attitude. Why are you asking me this? Real, a little crotchety at times, but she was very soft spoken. And I wondered, why aren't the jurors' phones locked up? Like, why are they able to have their phones on them sitting in the jury box during a trial? Because unless you're press, unless you have a press pass, those of us who are spectators of the trial, we have to keep our phones at the guard's desk. They hold on to our phones. So I thought that was interesting, and she was quite patient. She didn't get irritated at all. So I thought that was interesting. All right, so they unpaused the audio, and again, this is a conversation between Caesar, who is the CEO, Caesar McDowell, who is the CEO of Unite the People, and Tory Lanez. Okay, so Tory Lanez reached out to Caesar while he was behind bars, jail call. All right. So Tory asked about the conflict of interest because Caesar is reading this statement that he plans to put out to let everybody know that they are going to be officially representing Milagro Gramz, right? So Tory, he asked about conflict of interest, which was a good question, and that the Milagro piece, like mentioning her name, should be left out of the statement. After Caesar's phone call with Tory ended, the person questioning Caesar asked him about his phone call with Tory, and he continues to reply, "I don't remember," when asked about the phone call that was just played. Okay, so you kind of get the idea that he is not interested in answering any questions. So when Tory brought up conflict of interest, just going back to that, Tory is on the board. His exact title, I don't recall, but he is on the board of Unite the People. So when he asked about the conflict of interest, Caesar said, quote, "It would only be a conflict of interest if Milagro knew or found out that we represented you. You dig what I'm saying?" Okay, so those were his exact words. So the lawyer, Megan's lawyer, who's doing the deposition, then asked if he agreed to represent Milagro because of Tory. His answer, "I don't remember." Another question, did Tory agree to pay for Milagro's fees, her legal fees? Answer, "I don't remember." Okay, so the angle here appears, this is just my opinion here, my little opinion box. The angle here appears to be this. So when Caesar said that he would represent Millie pro bono, Millie did state this on the stand. When she was on the stand for the first 2 days, she did state this, that Caesar reached out to her and offered to represent her pro bono, right? So it's assumed that Tory, who is the board member of Unite the People, would pay Millie's legal fees. Okay, so it's also assumed that Tory sits on the board, therefore he funds Unite the People and quote unquote donates or quote unquote puts money into this nonprofit organization. Okay, so phone records were then pulled, and it was reported that there were 73 calls between Millie and Caesar McDowell, who is the CEO of Unite the People. And then he states, quote, "I don't remember a lot, but that seems weird." So he was asked, "Why are you updating Tory about Ms. Cooper's case?" His answer, "I don't remember." Oh boy. Tori's messages were no, text messages, sorry, were shown where Caesar and Millie communicated. One of the text messages that was pulled stated, "Call me, we need to talk." This is what he texts Millie. All right. So Caesar's statement regarding Tori's deposition rumors, right? So he disparages Caesar McDowell, that is. He disparages Megan Cuniff, accusing her, who is, Megan Cuniff is the court reporter who happens to be sitting right behind me at this very moment. All right. So he disparages Megan Cuniff, accusing her of being a quote unquote mouthpiece for Megan's side. So the statement showed, the statement that they showed, um, let me see. The statement showed he wrote it and he tried to act like it didn't come from him. Oh, the statement that he wrote. Right. So he tried to act like his statement didn't come from him. So the person handling the deposition, the counsel handling the deposition, basically had to like point it out to him, and then he played dumb and he was like, "Oh, okay, it came directly from him." I don't even know why they're showing this. I should have actually stepped out and got something to eat, but I wanted to get as much information as possible, because this I didn't see. This deposition I didn't see, and I did hear about his deposition, but I guess it's good for me to actually see it and experience it, completely. All right, so I made a little note. Note that this is the man that Millie said stole her money. Okay, he was asked, why would Miss Cooper is Milagro Cooper, Miss Cooper accuse you of stealing her money? His answer, I don't know. That was his answer to everything. Every question. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember. So Mari is brought up. Now, Mari is a board member from Unite the People. Okay. A text message is shown where Millie texts Sunstar, which is Tory Lanez's father, stating that Mari reached out to her and she wants to make sure that Mari is a legitimate person to communicate with. The text message includes Mari's email and contact phone number. Okay, so Caesar was asked if Mari is a board member at Unite the People. His answer, you guessed it, I don't know. Okay, so that was part one of Caesar's deposition. There was a brief recess, and then we come back, and I'm saying to myself, thank God that was over. It was very long, it was drawn out. All right, so first up, the first witness of the day, T Farris, real name Travis Farris, but everyone knows him as T Farris in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen. So he is the first witness of the day. All right. So after he, swore with his right hand up, left hand up, all that good stuff, he stated his name. The court reporter was over there clicking and clacking and typing away. He was asked, Megan's lawyer. Now, this is not O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan wasn't up today. He was there. When I got there, he wasn't there, but then he came. But he didn't do any questioning today. Okay, I don't recall this lady's name, but she was up and she asked T Farris, "Where do you live?" I didn't make out what he said. I don't know if somebody sneezed or I don't know if he said Florida or Houston. I got a big question mark there, so I don't recall. Question: what do you do? And then he said his answer was that he's a manager. Okay, so then he was asked how he and Megan Thee Stallion met. So he met Megan Thee Stallion in 2018, and he DM'd somebody named T Nitty about working with Megan. I think he said that T Nitty was someone that was dating Megan, one of Megan's friends. So T Nitty was the one that he DM'd T Nitty about working with Megan, and he was introduced to Megan's mother, okay, who obviously was alive at the time. For those of you who don't know, Megan's mother did pass away years ago, okay? And he and Megan ended up working together, and they got along. He said they got along very well. He assisted with Megan's quote-unquote day-to-day. This is what he says. He said his role changed when Holly, who is Megan's mother, got sick in 2019. he took over the roles that basically her mom would handle. Her mother was like her manager. She handled everything for her, booking flights, booking shows, all of that good stuff. So after Miss Holly got sick, that's when T Farris stepped up and he started handling all of the things that Holly would do. All right. So Rock Nation. Wait a minute. Did I skip over? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Oh, when Megan Thee Stallion signed to Rock Nation, I just put Rock Nation. So when Megan Thee Stallion signed to Rock Nation, now she's not signed to Rock Nation as a music artist. Rock Nation is her management company. I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, still believe or still feel that Megan Thee Stallion is signed as a music artist to Rock Nation Records. No, that's not the case. But if you want to continue to think that, who am I to interrupt? Okay. So he handled his roles were handling all things, pertaining to her touring, her brand deals. He stated that they lived together since her mom passed away, and Holly basically asked them both to stick together before she passed. So they moved in together. Okay, that was the reason why that they moved together. Later on, he did disclose that he T Farris, Megan, and another person, he didn't name the person, all lived together in a house. Okay, now as far as the finances, he basically says that he has insight. He signs off and gives approval on spending amounts. All right. Their relationship, he said, they're like family. They're like brother and sister. Now, Megan, I look over and I'm looking at Megan, and she's looking at him with admiration, like that's my brother. And to be honest with you, I'm glad that somebody, it's good to see that somebody on her side, that's kind of like her family, showing up for her, because he was on the stand. He did have to testify, but he did stay a little bit. I noticed that he stayed a little bit, and he sat on her side, right behind her, in the bench that was right behind her and her legal team. So it was good to see somebody, that both her parents are deceased. I think it was her grandmother, her great grandmother passed away. She doesn't have any siblings on her mother's side. It was said that she has siblings on her father's side. Who knows if they're close? So it's good to see that somebody familiar, showed up for her. Then they go into talking about Megan's mom's passing. All right, said that she, after Megan's mom passed, she was asked, T Ferris was asked, like, how was Megan after her mother passed? Like, what was her personality like? And he said that she pretty much, she matured. Once her mom passed, she had a lot more responsibilities that she had to handle. And plus she was getting older as well. So he said that, she just had to grow up, and she just matured in a lot of ways. Okay. Now, when it comes to Milagro, he said that he heard about Milagro after the shooting. Okay. He said that fans send him things still to this day. Okay. And that fans send him things that Millie says about Megan, that are negative. Okay. Child, I can't even read my own handwriting. I changed notebooks, so it's a lot more on this page. Anyway, so when he said that, it made me think of an assumption that I made. And this is it before I forget. You see, when Megan filed this lawsuit, right? All of the evidence became available. The court documents are online. They're not free, but you can go to Pacer and you can look at court documents, and you can see all the evidence that will be presented before the trial even starts, right? So all this evidence that has been accumulated over the years, I promise you, and I should have said this in commentary, but excuse me, I promise you, even though Megan has the money to hire a team, she has the connections to hire a team to look into all of this, and you have forensics going through stuff. I said to myself, I guarantee you 1,000% that there are people who love Megan and don't like Millie that probably record every single station head episode. They probably save every tweet. And she has like her private groups and her private chat rooms and stuff like that. they probably have gathered all this information or a lot of this information and probably sent it to whoever they can send it to so that it can get to Megan and probably her lawyers. So when T Farris said that fans send stuff to him, even to this day, that just, reminded me of what I assumed, right? So he says that they always send, negative, whenever something negative is posted about Megan Thee Stallion, they send it to him and he sees it. And he says that he never actively listened to Millie. And then he stated that he listened to her. I guess after the shooting and people started sending him stuff, he took a listen at what she was talking about, specifically because it had to do with Megan Thee Stallion. And he said that 99% of the content that he received was of Millie speaking negative about Megan. He said it was never positive. He heard Millie say that Megan was lying, talked about her music, was lying, talked negatively about her music. He said that if she breathes, she talks about her. Okay. Then they go into talking about the shooting. So he was asked, how did he find out that Megan, was popped? He said that not Chelsea, but Kelsey, who was also in the car that night, Kelsey texted him and told him. He said that he got in the car and he drove to the location that he had of them. And then he said he wasn't able to talk to Megan on the scene, and cops told him that she was going to the hospital and he could meet up with her at the hospital and that she would basically call him. He said that he wasn't able to talk to her because by the time he got there, Megan was already in the ambulance. Going back to what he said about Millie, he said she didn't say nothing positive about Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I'm saying? And he said that, I think I wrote it down further along, but it just came back to my remembrance. He said that she should be in the Guinness Book of World Records for being a hater. He said Megan has had so many accomplishments, and it's like you can't say nothing nice about her, or he's basically saying the stuff that was sent to him was nothing positive. Of course, her fans are not going to send you anything that Millie said positively. Her fans don't like Millie. So they're just basically going to be driving home the point that Millie is a hater and she always got something negative to say about Megan. Even if Millie did say something positive about Megan, I don't think the fans would rush to send him that, right? But I get what he was what he was saying. So going back to that night, he said that he went to the hospital to see Megan, and when he saw her, she was crying. She had surgery, he said, and he basically took her to Tampa after that. And every morning, that they would go out back fishing, and he said that he tried to help her recover, de-stress, and try to heal. All right. Now on August 30th, 2022, Milagro's live stream. Now I told y'all before in yesterday's video, in the previous video, every time they play Milagro's station head or YouTube, whatever live stream, I always cringe. And that makes her look the absolute worst, because I said before, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter as well. She_Royal B. I posted on Twitter, and I also said in my commentary that when Milagro was on that stand, she was poised. She didn't hesitate. She didn't flinch. She was keeping O'Sullivan, which is one of Megan's lawyers, on his toes. He got to the point where he was a little frustrated. He was scratching his noggin. It was like cat and mouse. Millie was not tripped up. But when those station head lives or those live broadcasts are played, the audio, if you know Milagro, Milagro is very abrasive in her speech. She's very vulgar. She uses a lot. She excessively uses profanity. She says that it's like comedy, but not everybody's comedy is the same. So they play Millie's audio, and she calls Megan's family. This is Milagro Gramz says that Megan comes from a family of alcoholics, and she called her mother, who is deceased, and she was deceased at the time that Millie made this statement. Milagro made this statement, called her mother a thief. I don't know if her mother had a criminal history. That's what Milagro was alluding to. But it was so harsh. It was so harsh. Um, Megan was sad and withdrawn, T Farris said, after hearing this live stream. And I put Millie station head audio is going to fry her to a crisp. Okay, that's my little opinion box in red in my notes. All right, next up is evidence, which was a text thread dated August 30th, 2022 between T Farris and Megan. And he texts, "What's really making you sad?" That's from T Farris. Megan, everything. I feel I'm always under attack. People won't give me grace. Yada, yada, yada. There was more. That's what Megan responded. So Farris, then he sent Megan a Bible verse. I think he said it was Psalm 51. And then the Megan's lawyer asked, like, what's the significance of that Bible verse? And he said it's just basically about, other people going through things, and she'll come out on the other side. And he said that he would often talk to her about the Bible and point out stories in the Bible where people were going through trials and tribulations and how they came out. He didn't word it like that, but that's basically what he said. He said he was trying to make her feel better and get past all of the ridicule that she was facing. He said that Megan canceled shows due to all the online hate that she received from Milagro and everyone else. And he said that she canceled family events, outings with friends, and she would close herself off and stay in her room. December 12th, 2022, Millie's audio. Millie is giving her day one Tory trial recap. This is the trial of California versus Tory Lanez. And she basically refers to some of the jurors as white B words, Spanish B words, and she said it was a black lady. She's talking about the jurors on the case. She said that the attorney, I think that's Mr. Bott, I think he was an attorney in that case. She said he was a pretty white boy, and he looked like all the white girls wanted to suck his D. Child, I almost fell out of my seat. I purposely did not watch. Yo, that her audio, bro. I can only imagine what the jury is thinking. When Tory's trial was going on, I purposely did not watch Milagro's coverage of the trial. I did watch a couple of other people, and then I read some articles and stuff like that. But I purposely did not watch Milagro's coverage because I knew she was going to be biased. It's no shade. I knew she was going to be biased, and some people were saying that she was lying. I remember other YouTubers who attended the trial said that Milagro was trying to paint a certain picture that did not exist, and had some of her supporters and Tory supporters thinking that Tory was going to be set free, and the opposite occurred, obviously. All right, continuing on. So more station head audio of Millie. The profanity is insane. Millie was excited about being shouted out by Tory Lanez, and she expressed her excitement in the audio. All right, so moving along to December 19th, 2022, Millie's audio. And I quote, "You a lying ass hoe, and you absolutely lied about Tory." This is Millie's exact words. So T Farris says that she, Millie, never said anything positive about Megan. Her Popeyes deal, Millie said nothing positive. And he said that basically, she had a Popeyes deal. This was kind of funny. She had a Popeyes deal, and, she said nothing positive. Instead, he said she probably would have said drunk ass B word, because she's always calling Megan out of her name. Okay. January 29th, 2024. This was a tweet. Millie tweeted about T Farris sleeping with Megan. She tweets that T Farris is Megan's guardian and says that Megan is slow. T Farris says that he is not Megan's guardian. Okay, T Farris, he admits to showing Megan these tweets and, letting her listen to the audio of Milagro. Okay, another one of Millie's audio. What is Megan Thee Stallion's? I put MTS. What is Megan Thee Stallion's legal status? Does she need a guardian? Is she mentally capable? These are Millie's words played from her audio from one of her shows. He says that these occurrences of Megan Thee Stallion withdrawing whenever a fan sends negative things. Whenever a fan sends negative things said about her was often. So, the occurrences of her withdrawing. So T Farris was saying that whenever he showed her anything, negative that was posted or, audio or whatever, anything that was said about her, she would just retreat. She would withdraw. She would lock herself in the room. She wouldn't want to talk to nobody. He said those occurrences were often. All right. Now we move on to the deep fake video. All right. Child, I was not ready. They didn't show it here, but they showed it later on in the day. I looked up and it was just a still shot because I'd never seen it. I've heard talks about it. I've heard, Milagro was the one that mentioned it. She didn't share it, but she liked it. And she told everybody to go to her likes. This was before Twitter hid your likes. Now you can't see what other people like, okay? But back then you could. And I'd never had an interest in looking for it and stuff like that. I'm good. All right. So they get to talking about the deepfake video, right? They showed a still shot of, it was he. I thought it was when the psychologist was up there. Anyway, pardon me. This is why you look at the notes, right? They showed a still shot of a fake video of Megan Thee Stallion basically receiving fellatio. Now, imagine the girl, Lord have mercy, the girl sitting there in a room full of strangers, and this comes up. My goodness, how embarrassing. So T Farris says that they were on a tour bus headed to a concert when he received the video. He said he showed it to her because he wanted to get it out of the way before her show. He said that she cried and she locked herself in her room on the tour bus because she had her own room on the tour bus, period. And she cried for hours, he said. Next is Millie's tweet telling people to go to her likes to see the deepfake video. So Farris was asked, when images were circulating online about Megan Thee Stallion, what behavior did you observe? His answer was, he's never seen this type of hate, referring to Millie. Megan Thee Stallion became withdrawn. She wasn't as outgoing. She became depressed. He says that Megan Thee Stallion received treatment in 2022 or 2023 for 1 month therapy, and the cost was $240,000 for treatment. He said that he approved that amount to be spent. And the reason being is because he said that he went into saying that, the Bible verses that he would send her and he would try to talk to her. He would try to cheer her up. He's not a therapist and he's not a, psychologist or a professional. So he definitely approved this because he thought that it would, be for her benefit. All right. And then we go on to Holly. That's what I have under. Holly is Megan's mother. Says that she told him that you're finally going to manage Megan. And she told Farris this over the phone when she was in the hospital. And he said shortly after, Holly went into a coma. He said that he didn't know how sick Holly was. Because when she said that to him, he was just like, what? What are you talking about? So he didn't understand or didn't know how sick she was. All right. Now it's cross-examination time. All right. Now, Millie's lawyer, she asked about T Farris's responsibilities to Megan Thee Stallion after her mother passed. So the lawyer asked about showing these negative posts about Megan Thee Stallion to Megan Thee Stallion, knowing that the negative effects that this would have on her. So the question was, You've seen the negative impact that these posts would have on Megan Thee Stallion, yet you still showed them to her, correct? His answer, yes. Um, Evidence text thread previously shown by Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer. This is where T Farris was asking what's making you sad. And then the lawyer asked if Megan Thee Stallion ever mentioned Miss Cooper in the text thread. T Farris said no. Okay. I put in my opinion box in red, nice move, I thought, that question. Okay. She never mentioned Megan Thee Stallion. So if she's expressing how sad and stuff like that she didn't make Megan Thee Stallion. I guess their angle is, well, not Megan Thee Stallion. Sorry. They didn't, Megan Thee Stallion didn't mention Milagro. Basically, trying to angle it like, well, I guess Milagro is not the source of her depression, or, I see what they try to do there. You had to be there. Anyway, a text message from Megan Thee Stallion. She says that she's hurting and she wants comfort, but she's always under attack. So Milagro's lawyer asked, there was one of the black females. She asked, you approved her treatment in the large amount of $240,000? T Farris, yes. Question, you're heavily in charge of her finances. Answer, T Farris, not really. I'm just here to help. Question, $240,000 is a life-changing decision, right? T Farris's answer, if the person needs help, then no. A life-changing decision, he said no. Question, who owns the property where you live? Answer, T Farris said, I'm not sure. Question, is Miss Pete's name on the property in Miami? T Farris said, I'm not sure. There was an objection. The judge tells the lawyer, don't badger the witness. Because she was pretty aggressive in her question asking. Okay? And then you can start talking over the person and then it could just become combative. That's not professional. Question, did you ever suggest that Megan Thee Stallion remove herself from social media? Answer, again, this is T Farris, yes, and she did. Question, and you still showed her negative posts? Answer, yes, because everyone around us seen these posts. So she was going to see it one way or another. Okay. Question, Joe Budden, you're aware of him. DJ Academics, Aiden Ross, they said unfavorable things about Megan Thee Stallion. T Farris answers, yes, but Millie was doing too much. Well, he said Milagro was doing too much. She was vulgar and it was so much. She's the only one on a high level. She was hating for 5 years. Still, she should go into the Guinness Book of World Records. Everyone giggled at that. Question, you're aware of Partisan Fontaine's song about Megan Thee Stallion? Answer, yes. Question, you showed it to her? T Farris said, yes, we listened to it. Question, how did she react? T Farris says she was sad. Question, Partisan is Megan Thee Stallion's ex-boyfriend, right? T Farris says yes. Question, how long were they together? T Farris says, I don't know. Question, you heard about Nicki Minaj's rap about Megan Thee Stallion, right? T Farris says yes. Question, you showed it to her? T Farris said yes. Yeah, they brought up Nicki's name quite a bit, child. I said, Lord, here we go. T Farris, I did put at the top, T Farris says that he's 44, and I thought that he looked great for his age. As far as what he was wearing, all black. Black jacket, black shirt, black pants. Dressed in all black. Okay, so he looked sharp. He looked nice. Okay, moving along. Question. Would you agree a lot of people online didn't give Megan Thee Stallion grace? T Farris says, yeah, but it wasn't like excessive for 5 years straight. Question, why did you continue to show her? Basically show her like the negative stuff that was sent to him. T Farris says, to protect her. He showed her to beat everyone to the punch because she was going to see it anyway. So he felt, I remember him saying that he basically felt like he wanted to be the one to tell her and show her so that he could then provide her with, support and encouragement and try to help her, so on and so forth. Question: did she drink when she was sad during this time? His answer said, we would drink when we celebrate deals, uh, gold records, etc. Oh, but he said, okay, the answer to the question was, did she drink when she was sad during this time? He said, no, not at this time. And then he said that they would have, drinks occasionally to celebrate, like deals, records, etc. Question: did you ever see her drink excessively? T Farris answered, what do you define as excessive? Question: you've never seen Megan drink in her sadness? T Farris said no. Question: have you seen Megan Thee Stallion drink over 5 cups of Hennessy within 5 hours? T Farris answers no. Question: has Megan Thee Stallion struggled with alcoholism? T Farris answers no. I never experienced that with her. And then I wrote $240,000. $240,000 treatment, 1 month of treatment. Right. So he said that he located the therapist. He was asked, was she treated for alcoholism? T Farris answered no, she wasn't. I was there. Question: you thought $240,000 was reasonable for 1 month of treatment? Answer: yes. This is T Farris. Yes, she needed help, and I wasn't able to cheer her up. Question: do you recycle? I promise you, when she asked him that, I knew where she was going. T Farris says yes. Question: do you recall seeing alcoholic bottles in the recycling bin? I promise you, I knew that's what she was getting at. T Farris answered no. Question: do you believe Megan Thee Stallion lied to protect the people in the car? T Farris answered yeah. She said that she stepped on glass to protect everyone in the car because at that time they were shooting a lot of black people because of the George Floyd situation, and that has been said a million times. Meg's lawyer returns. I think that she rested. That means she was it. Milagro's lawyer, that was it. She didn't have any other questions. And then Meg's lawyer returns. So this is the crossing the cross, right? Is that what it is? Meg's lawyer returns and asks Farris if he's seen the deepfake video on a PORN website. T Farris's answer says no. There was some link that he was sent that he couldn't click on. And then Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer, that's the only question she had. No further questions. Farris is dismissed. The court breaks for lunch. Next witness takes the stand. Woo, Mr. Daniel Kinney. He is the senior vice president for marketing at Roc Nation. He's been there for 6.5 years. He manages commercial duties, brand deals. He's the main point of contact for negotiating brand deals. He represented Megan Thee Stallion for over 6 years. He negotiated all of her brand deals since 2019. Nike, Revlon, Mielle, AT&T, just to name a few. Okay. Now this witness was interesting. I think T Farris did good. And as far as who won that one, somebody wrote in the comments. I can't remember your name, because I posted a quick little live from the courthouse, like 11 minutes or so, just updating everybody that T Farris took the stand. Who won that? I would have to say it's a draw. I think that Megan Thee Stallion's lawyers did good in their questioning, and I do think that Milagro's lawyer, she did good in her questioning, even though she was a little aggressive. But I get it. It is what it is. But I think their line of questioning was I think it's a draw. I can't say one or the other won in my opinion. Won that one with T Farris. T Farris was a good witness. He didn't lose his cool. He was, cool, calm, and collected. So I say that was a draw. All right. Now this was really interesting. This Roc Nation representative. Wait, let me see. Oh, here it is. We back down here. All right. So he takes the stand. Mr. Daniel, Mr. Kinney, he takes the stand and he swears in and all that good stuff. And basically, he gives a synopsis of what he does. And like I said, he said that he's the main point of contact for negotiations. Now, he is being questioned by one of Megan's lawyers, the same lady who questioned, I think it was the same lady who questioned T Farris first. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know their names, but whatever. So he says that Megan Thee Stallion is one of the hardest working people, and she understands. He said one of the hardest working people that he's ever worked with, and she understands branding and is very involved with her branding. So Kinley, is it Kinney? Let's just say Daniel from Rock Nation. So Daniel was asked, would you say that Megan loves to work? He says, yes. Question, did you notice a change in her work ethic? Daniel says, yes. Question, when was this? Answer, 2021, 2022. Question, do you know why her work ethic declined? Answer, yes, due to constant online bullying. He said that he's seen the bullying himself online. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That right there sound a little rehearsed. Because if he would have said her work ethic declined after the Tory Lanez was found guilty and she experienced so much online harassment because people, called her a liar, that would have been more believable. But I don't know, that he could be telling the truth. I'm just saying how he answered the question seemed very scripted to me. It's no shade, just an observation. Remember, I'm on She Royal B side. I am here to report the news and give a little sprinkle of my opinion to create dialogue. All right, don't get it twisted. Don't get bent out of shape. Anyway, do you know why her work ethic declined? Was the question. Answer, yes, due to constant online bullying. That just sounds rehearsed, doesn't it? Am I the only one that feels that way? Anyway, the next question, did Megan Thee Stallion lose any brand deals? Daniel said, yes, I know of 4. All right, so let's rattle off the 4. The first one is Activision, which was I guess a part of Call of Duty. So she had a contract set to work with Call of Duty. They were going to do a body scan of her, he said, and create a skin of Megan Thee Stallion. And he said that she would have been the first female, did he say first African-American female or the first female in a game character? I don't know why I wrote that. The second one was Google Pixel. The third, now that Activision Call of Duty, that was a $1.1 million cash deal, but then Rock Nation would have got broken off with, millions of dollars. I forgot I don't think he said an amount. The next one was Google Pixel. The third was Just Eat's Takeaway, which is a parent company of Grubhub. That was a $2.6 million deal. And the fourth was the U.S. women's soccer team. Okay. The Call of Duty. So they go over that. The Call of Duty. He said the day before that Megan Thee Stallion was to be scanned for her game character, she was informed that her character was to be shot. And this triggered Megan Thee Stallion, and she pulled out of the deal. Okay. Daniel was asked, did they find a replacement for her? And he said, yes. Nicki Minaj. He said they chose Nicki Minaj instead. Now, he called Nicki Minaj a competitor of ours before he said her name. He was asked, did they choose someone else? Who did they go with? A competitor of ours. And who is that? Nicki Minaj. Child. I said a competitor of ours, meaning when he says ours, he works for Rock Nation. So he's a representation of Rock Nation. And Nicki Minaj is a competitor of ours. She's a competitor of y'all's. That sounds a little crazy. He could have just said that they went with Nicki Minaj. Saying that she's a competitor doesn't really paint Roc Nation in a good light, considering all of the things that Nicki Minaj has been saying about Roc Nation, Desiree Perez, and Jay Z publicly. That's crazy. The second one was the Google Pixel deal. Okay. She would have been the face of the new phone during the Super Bowl, which would have aired during the Super Bowl. And he said that Megan Thee Stallion was excited. He said it was a $1.4 million deal. The perks were cell phone service. She would have gotten flown out in a jet to the, I guess, to do advertising or to the Super Bowl, or I forgot where he said, but she would have had access to the jet, the company jet, and a number of Pixel phones. And basically, she was going to be getting white glove service. And Megan Thee Stallion wasn't available for the date that Google wanted, which was January 2023. He said that Megan Thee Stallion kept pushing the dates back, saying that she, quote unquote, wasn't ready. Time ran out and Google moved on, basically. The third deal, Just Eats, she was to do a commercial in several, that would have aired in several other countries. The documents that were presented at this time lists how Megan Thee Stallion would curate a song for the commercial. So why do I have Kinney? Let's just say Daniel. Daniel, he sent communication to Just Eats that Megan Thee Stallion needs to take personal time and wouldn't be available to film the commercial. Just Eat sent an email requesting an explanation as to why Megan Thee Stallion stated that she will be stepping away from social media and music, which is not what a brand or a company wants to hear. If you're going to be promoting something, you have to be active on social media, and you were supposed to be curating a song for a commercial and being hands-on. So if this company hears that you're stepping away from social media and you're not doing any music, they want to know what's going on. And the reason why Megan Thee Stallion made that statement that she was stepping away from music and social media was because of everything that was going on at this time. The fourth deal, this was in 2023, which was the U.S. women's soccer team deal. That was a $60,000 deal. And he said that even though that was a substantially lower amount compared to the other deals, he felt that Meg was, that it was a great opportunity. So Meg, she was going to create the official anthem for the U.S. women's soccer team. And at the time, he said that she was a Nike athlete. Okay, remember when she was promoting Nike? Now, at this time, sister court reporter, she strikes again, child. But she was very polite and kind to Mr. Daniel. She asked him to repeat himself and if he could slow down, please. She was very soft spoken compared to how she was yesterday. She was sick and tired of everybody and she had an attitude. Okay, she was over it. All right. Now, this deal was less, I already said that, but I wrote it here. This deal was less than the others, but this would give Megan Thee Stallion global exposure, okay? Megan Thee Stallion didn't complete the song by the deadline. She never did. She wasn't in a good headspace, and the deal fell through, okay? Again, because of her mental state, she wasn't able to complete the song and do what it is that was required for the deal to seal the deal, basically. All of these deals, he said, contracts were already signed. There was no negotiation phase. So all of these deals they fell through because of how she was feeling mentally, because of what she had to endure. So the question was, how is Megan Thee Stallion doing now? So his answer was, she's doing much better. She's re-engaged and she's focused. All right. So now it's cross-examination time of Mr. Daniel. And this is Millie's lawyer, the male lawyer. He's the lead lawyer. Now he be coming in hot. Okay. So I thought that the questioning from Millie's lawyer painted a good picture of how much money was lost, and how many opportunities were lost. Great. Mr. Lawyer Man from Millie's camp, He's coming in hot. Question: do you work with other artists at Rock Nation? Mr. Daniel said yes. Alicia Keys, J Balvin, Christina Aguilera, just to name a few. Question: do you have a supervisor? Oh, now why he asked that white man that? I don't think that white man liked that, child. Anyway, he says I report to the CEO. Question: who is the CEO? Mr. Daniel said Desiree Perez. He said that with his whole chest. Okay. Question: how many deals have you brokered for Megan Thee Stallion? He said several hundred. I think he said several hundred, child. I was gagging when he said Desiree Perez, and I was trying to write fast, and my knuckles were hurting. I think he said several hundred, so a whole bunch, a whole heap. Okay. Question: so I think he said hundreds. So out of hundreds of deals, only 4 fell through. I said, let me tell you something. That male lawyer be coming in hot. Coming in hot. So Mr. Daniels' answer, he basically explained the difference between long form deals versus being in the negotiation phase. Basically contract versus negotiation. Yeah. So like I said, those 4 deals, when he was questioned by Megan's lawyer, he was specifically, he broke down that all 4 of those deals, contracts had already been signed, right? So there was no negotiation phase with those 4 deals in particular. All right. So the next question is she getting less deals? And he says that she was less engaged, so there were less deals that went through in 2022 versus 2021. So basically in 2021, she had way more deals. Okay. Question: would you consider that burnout? And he answered, no, she loved to work. He was then asked about his pay structure. Counsel asked if Megan Thee Stallion brings in less deals, will he make less money? He says that Rock Nation gets a commission and he gets paid by Rock Nation. He said that he has other clients and makes money off of those clients. Okay. Question: you weren't thinking of her mental health when you signed her up for Call of Duty? For what? Oh, a violent shooting game. I thought that was a great question, and it's funny because I thought the same thing when I did hear him rattling off those 4 deals that she had and that contracts were signed for. When he said that activewear was basically for Call of Duty, I said to myself, the violent shooting video game. So Mr. Lawyer Man, Millie's lawyer, basically brought that up. Good question. His answer was, my focus was the marketing aspect. And then the lawyer tried to say, basically, you were just focused on the money. All right. He stated that he read about the case, and then he stated that he heard about Milagro. He said, I got an arrow here. Oh, he said that we decided to take action, and counsel asked, who is we? And then he said Megan Thee Stallion's team. I put a whole bunch of stars by that. And let me tell you why. So he was asked about, if he heard of Milagro. He said yes. And he was asked, how do you know? He said he read up on, what was going on. Megan Thee Stallion is his client. This stuff is circulating all over social media. You have Rock Nation. Basically, Megan is one of their biggest acts, right? So all this stuff is going on online, all right? So Rock Nation is definitely going to look into it. He's going to look into it as well, because this is going to affect, bottom line, his money, and the company's money. She herself is a brand, and the more deals that he brokers and gets, contracts signed for, the better it is for the company's portfolio overall, and the bigger his paycheck is, right? It's a business. Let's not act like it's not a business. It is, right? So when all of this started going down, and Milagro was bullying, as they call it, Megan Thee Stallion, and Megan Thee Stallion was being talked about by other people, he said that's when we decided to take action. When Millie's lawyer asked, who is we? and he said Megan Thee Stallion's team. The moment that man said, that's when we decided to take action, y'all, I lied to you not. The first thing that came to my mind is the way he said it was basically Roc Nation is coming for her, AWS. That's how I took it. Now, Roc Nation does not have a great reputation. Some people believe that Roc Nation is behind a lot of takedowns. Hell, people were saying that Roc Nation is the reason why. I didn't say it. This is what's being alleged. It's being alleged that Roc Nation is the reason why Tory Lanez is sitting in jail, among other things, with other celebrities, right? And you have a lot of celebrities and entertainers who have voiced their dissatisfaction with Roc Nation and the people who run Roc Nation. So that was really eerie, that moment. He cleaned that up mad quick though. He really did. So another question was, would you consider Nicki Minaj an A-list celebrity? Mr. Daniel, he paused and he said, in hip hop, yeah. And then he was asked, would you consider Megan Thee Stallion an A-list celebrity? And without hesitation, he said, in entertainment, yes. Now, this got everybody panties in a bunch because, this is being circulated online and people are sharing their opinions. So now the headline reads, right? Just walk with me. Picture it. Roc Nation Megan Thee Stallion's Roc Nation representative says that Nicki Minaj is not an A-list celebrity. And, people, I'm telling you, tomorrow, I'm recording this video right now. It is 12:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Child, it's already tomorrow. Anyway, but I'm telling you, it's going to blow up. I can't wait to see the headlines. I probably won't even engage with the content because this is exactly how stuff keeps circulating, how the news keeps circulating on social media. You take a piece of what someone says, and he said it. I was sitting right there when he said it. And we run with it. And everybody is going to go off. This is going to further decline, I guess, the reputation of Roc Nation, or it's going to further perpetuate Nicki Minaj's gripe with Roc Nation. And people are going to, of course, side with Nicki Minaj. Not that they shouldn't. I'm just saying, she has her fans. They support her. So I thought that was interesting, but that's his opinion. He was asked, and that is his opinion. Okay. Do I agree? Do I think Nicki Minaj is an A-list celebrity? Yeah. Duh. Not just in hip hop. You got to remember. Anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Yes, if the question was asked to me, yes, I do believe that Nicki Minaj is considered or is an A-list celebrity. Do I believe that Megan Thee Stallion is an A-list celebrity? Maybe now. Yeah, I would say yeah, too. I know that sounds crazy, but come on. She was at the Democratic National Convention associated with Kamala Harris, associated with Hillary Clinton. And yes, I know those people may not be your favorite people, but you being associated with, the former vice president and the former first lady, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think. All right, let me see what I wrote in my little think box in red. No lie. Oh, I put no lie when he said the first entity I thought of was Roc Nation. This is because Roc Nation has been accused by several people of taking people, quote unquote, taking people down. Some people believe Tory Lanez was, same thing I said. I remember what I thought at that exact moment, but I put what I think, my opinions in red. Anyway, next question. Who shot Megan Thee Stallion? Remember, this is Milagro's lawyer, the lead lawyer, lead attorney, the male lawyer. He's asking Daniel, who shot Megan Thee Stallion? He says Tory Lanez. Next question. Did Miss Cooper shoot Megan Thee Stallion? The man said, I don't believe so. Child, I can't. Question. Do you consider Miss Cooper a journalist? Answer. No. I think I'm gonna do a separate video on this. Why is it why like what is it about Milagro that she's not considered a journalist? Like, why not? If you look up the definition of journalist, never mind the way she presents the news, because I know that that's off-putting to some. Okay, and some people don't understand, some people don't like it, some people don't want to understand. That's fine. But what is it about Milagro that people say she ain't no journalist? I really want to know. Like, I really, really, really want to know. And if one of the arguments is going to be, well, she lies, a lot of these major news outlets that hire these journalists to sit behind a news desk and give you news, they lie too. And that has been proven. So they all lie, right? So what makes Milagro not a journalist? Look up the definition of journalist. Is it because she's not a traditional journalist? Do you think that she's a journalist? Do you think she's not a journalist? I just want, like, people are so hung up on that, and I have yet to hear a full, like a hearty explanation as to why Milagro is not a journalist. I mean, you may not like the type of journalist that she is, but does that negate the fact that she's a journalist? Is it because she didn't go to school for journalism? Do you have to be traditionally educated and have a journalist degree? A journalism degree? Am I saying that right? Journalism degree? A degree in journalism to be considered a journalist? I'm just saying. Y'all don't consider Dr. Phil a doctor, even though he didn't renew his license. He let his license lapse, but he went to school and earned his PhD. So just because his license is not active, he's not a doctor? What happens to all the education that he received or that he earned? That just goes out the window because he ain't renew his license? I'm just saying. That's a discussion that I would like to have, a mature discussion that I would like to have. Let me see where I left off at. Do you have a supervisor? Oh yeah. Do you consider Miss Cooper a journalist? He said no. He also asked if he was aware of Nicki Minaj's diss track. He was asked if he's aware of Nicki Minaj's diss track, and he said yes. Ooh, child, this is long. So my little think box says Millie's male lawyers line of questioning is effective in showcasing that Miss Cooper is not the cause. This is my think box, what I think. That Miss Cooper is not the cause of Megan Thee Stallion losing deals. Questioning his concern about her mental health, but then negotiating a deal for Call of Duty, a known violent game, was a great question to ask. So I gave him his kudos there. I did see where he was going before he came barreling down the road. I see what he did there. So that was effective in driving home his point. The last question, I think this is the last question. Did she ever tell you that she couldn't do a deal because Miss Cooper was bullying me? Did Megan Thee Stallion ever tell you, Mr. Daniel, that she couldn't do a deal because Miss Cooper, who is Milagro, was bullying her? Mr. Daniel, Roc Nation marketing manager, vice president, whatever, said no. She didn't say that to me. And then the man said, no further questions. That's I like the way he ate that. Okay? He ate that. And I would have to say, who won that round with Mr. Roc Nation, Daniel Kinney? I'm going to have to give that to Milagro's lead lawyer. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that to him, to his lead lawyer, because of that whole Call of Duty. Everybody know, even if you're not a gamer, And Megan is young enough. Megan Thee Stallion is young enough to know what Call of Duty is. She's into anime. And then Daniel, he tried to say that he basically felt he basically looks at Call of Duty. Yes, there's violence and there's shooting in there, but he says his when he thinks of Call of Duty, it's mostly a game used to socialize because everybody puts on headsets, right? Is that how it goes? And they're talking to each other while they're on missions. I'm familiar with Call of Duty. Have I ever played Call of Duty? No, but I know what Call of Duty is about, and how it's played, right? So that line of question to me, that was obvious. That was he skated on that because that was an obvious open door for him to walk through. As far as the jury at this point, I don't know how much they're grasping. I know that they were having trouble keeping up with the names and who's and so on and so forth. But I really hope that they are taking in the information. I wasn't there for day one for jury selection, but to my understanding, I don't think any of them know who. I think maybe one or two of them know who Megan Thee Stallion is, but I don't think they know exactly what's going on between Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. If I'm wrong, just correct me in the comments. I'm not sure. Like I said, I was not in the court at the court for day one. Okay, so yeah, so Millie's male lawyer, he ate that. He ate that. Lord, the Millie and Milagros is tying up my tongue. Megan's lawyer, when she was questioning the Roc Nation representative, was asking about the deals, and he did a good job explaining the deals and so on and so forth. But he was a good witness. He kept his cool. But yeah, I would have to say that the male lawyer, he did his thing. He kind of won that. So yeah, but saying that Nicki Minaj, well, again, it's his opinion. I know everybody is gonna go crazy about him saying that Nicki Minaj, he doesn't consider Nicki Minaj an A-list celebrity, and it could be because he's biased. I don't think that he's part of Roc Nation, so maybe he's one of the people who doesn't care for Nicki Minaj either because of Roc Nation. You never know. I don't know. He could be an undercover barb. You just never know. But I just can't wait to see everybody like run with that and give their opinions and what's going to become of it, because that's going to be the talk for the rest of the week. Forget the case. Everybody is going to hone in and focus on that. Watch. And then people are going to say even more disparaging things about Megan Thee Stallion. But T Farris said that she's in a different place. So did Mr. Kinney, Mr. Daniel. He said that she's in a different place. She's re-engaging. She is dating, right? And this is something that the psychologist brought up as well. All right. So speaking of psychologists, she is, the next witness. Dr. Lenore Walker. She's a clinical and forensic psychologist. Okay, first of all, I got to give her things, okay, because I'm a Jersey girl, all right? And one of the colleges that she earned her EDD from is Rutgers University, okay? A very well-known college in New Jersey, and my mother's alma mater, okay? How you doing? All right, so she got her bachelor's in 1962 in psychology, okay? So this lady got some age on her, okay? She got her master's degree in psychology in 1969. And she got her EDD from Rutgers in 1972. She is licensed to practice psychology in New Jersey, Florida, and I think she said New York. I forgot the third state. So she diagnosed Megan Thee Stallion with post-traumatic stress disorder. That's an obvious. That diagnosis just makes sense, right? After having that traumatic incident take place and then everything displayed for the world to see, of course, she's going to experience some PTSD. All right. So Dr. Walker, she brought the DSM-5. Okay. So, my ears were perked up because I too am a psychology major and earned 2 degrees in the field of psychology. So when they brought out that DSM-5, I said, oh, okay, she's prepared. So she's being questioned by another one of Megan's lawyers. This is a female. This is not the same one who talked to T Farris, and not the same one who talked to Daniel, the Rock Nation representative. Okay, she's a lot more. This one is a lot more soft spoken. So she brought that DSM-5 out, baby. Okay. And the DSM-5 basically lists all these psychological problems that or issues that a psychologist uses to diagnose. If you know, you know. Now, a photo posted online of Milagro and Sunstar was presented, and the doctor did review it and stated that this image was a trigger for Megan Thee Stallion. And then there was another picture of the Tory Lanez music video showing a cut up horse leg that was also a trigger for Megan Thee Stallion. And these two images were posted 1 month apart. There was also a tweet from Milagro that was presented as well. And that was also a trigger for Megan Thee Stallion, stating that Megan Thee Stallion was scared. This is what the Dr. Walker is saying. Okay, she's a older white lady with lots of experience in clinical and forensic psychology. She's worked on other cases, high profile cases as well. All right. So this is not somebody that they just found, no rinky dink person. She talked about, well, she was asked how much she was getting paid, and she talked about, she coined up. Okay. Put it that way. And if you hire her, her fees are high. Okay, because she has lots of experience. So she set her price. It is what it is. Anyway, so there were tests that were performed on Megan Thee Stallion. There was a clinical interview, and that measures how someone thinks and feels, paired with their behavior. She had a mental status exam that was conducted just by talking to Megan Thee Stallion. Her rate of speech was measured. You know, how she acts emotionally, that was measured as well. Her intellectual ability. She says that Megan Thee Stallion was competent, and her intellectual ability didn't need measuring, okay, because she proved to be competent. So this is my little think box written in red. So at this point, I'm looking over at Megan Thee Stallion while Dr. Walker was discussing her evaluation of Megan Thee Stallion. And when she worked with her, Megan Thee Stallion is looking intently and paying attention to the doctor. Dr. Walker does have like a pleasant and easy to understand and follow way of communicating. Like her tone is very pleasant. She touched on the passing of Megan Thee Stallion's mom and great grandmother. She says that she somewhat resolved some of that grief. And then she did point out the fact that grief never really goes away. But as human beings, you know, you have the ability to kind of like regulate your emotions. And as time passes, I guess, healthy time, as time passes, you're able to kind of resolve some of the issues that you experience, right? So the doctor stated that her trauma stemmed from the incident with Tory Lanez. Okay, now this is important. This is very important because this is where she goes into talking about why she diagnosed her with post-traumatic stress disorder. She said that the initial trauma stems from what happened with Tory Lanez. Then she goes on to say that Megan was not able to heal from that trauma because she was continuously harassed by Milagro every day online, incessantly talking about her, calling her a liar, bullying her, so on, so forth. Okay. But she did state that Tory Lanez was the cause of her trauma and not Milagro Gramz, but Milagro Gramz played a role in her trauma continuing. Does that make sense? I'm sure that makes sense. So the doctor says that Millie's conduct I see. I remember what she said, but then I'm going back to my notes. It's all right. So if I sound repetitive, my bad. The doctor says that Millie's conduct contributed to Megan Thee Stallion's trauma, preventing Megan Thee Stallion from healing. Um, Dr. Walker says that she feels that the initial shooting was the cause of the PTSD, and Millie contributed to Megan Thee Stallion's inability to heal, so the two incidences were merged. So the doctor says that receiving treatment for PTSD while still being triggered will slow down the healing process. That's pretty self-explanatory. And I put my little think box. That makes sense. It's like not allowing a scab to heal. It's like not allowing a scab to heal, and you keep picking it. It's going to slow down the healing process and could also reinfect the wound. That was my little think box. So Dr. Walker, she says that Megan Thee Stallion still finds it hard to create music, because she considers herself a creative, just to create, make friends, date, etc. All right. So the council rests. So Megan Thee Stallion, they went over a lot more. They went over like the cycles of PTSD. They took a page out of the DSM, like what characteristics do you have to display or have, or what behaviors do you display, or what characteristics you have that you could diagnose someone with. In each category, they're like, subcategories, so on and so forth. So they went over that. Now, I won't bore you with the psychology jargon. And then that was pretty much it. So now it's cross-examination time, baby. And this is Millie's female lawyer. She was up. I think her name is Natasha. You oftentimes see her walking out. Well, she usually walks out with two of the ladies. But there's one lady with braids, cornrows going back, and then there's another lady with long hair. This is Natasha, the one with the long hair. Bless her heart. Okay. All right. So she seemed like she was nervous. Okay, that's what I gathered. I don't think she's a bad lawyer, but I just feel like the questions that she was asking, I don't know if she wrote them down, or maybe she was nervous. Like, she sounded really unsure of herself. She wasn't really poised and confident. She didn't really ask good follow-up questions confidently. And I think that Dr. Walker could sense that, but she was gentle with her. She was gentle with her. So Natasha, again, this is the other female lawyer on Millie's team. She asked the doctor, "You are being paid to be here by the plaintiff, correct?" Dr. Walker says, "Yes." Dr. Walker is getting coin, y'all. So she's pretty much being paid $5,000 per day. She charges $5,000 per day out of office. Okay. And also, so she's getting $5,000 per day because this is out of her office work. Now, initially, she was paid $20,000 to show up today for court. Now, at first, I said to myself, damn, she getting paid coin. Well, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? She's, she charging what she charged. But then I thought, bought and paid for, maybe? And I thought that was good. After pondering, after thinking, I thought that was good to start off right then and there. You're being paid to be here. 20 grand plus $5,000 per day for your out of office services. So the question could be posed. I'm not saying this is the case. Has Dr. Walker been paid to diagnose Megan Thee Stallion with PTSD to make it go in her favor? Now, I think that's a legitimate question. However, let's back it up a little bit. Considering the events that took place that night, and let me speak for myself. I still don't know exactly what happened. I'm not going to pretend to be like, yeah, this is what happened. He did this, she did that. We don't know. We literally don't know. Unless you do know. And even if you do know, don't say nothing. I don't know what happened, right? We seen how traumatic things looked I'm pretty sure that everybody in that car was traumatized. So yes, I'm sure she exhibits the behaviors of a person that has PTSD. So I mean, like, even if she was bought and paid for, right? Would you say that Megan Thee Stallion doesn't have PTSD? I think it's safe to say that she does. That's traumatizing. They were fighting and God knows what else was going on. She ended up in an ambulance. That's traumatizing. On top of probably dealing with a whole bunch of other unresolved issues. You let me know in the comments. All right, let's proceed here. So Dr. Walker, like I said, Dr. Walker is getting coined. All right, so March 20th, 2025, the telehealth evaluation was done with Megan Thee Stallion and Dr. Walker for 3 hours, okay? Cross-examination's angle is due to the evaluation being via video conference. Telehealth is basically where you can see your doctor over FaceTime. You're not going into an office. So Megan Thee Stallion did not go to a physical location where she met up with Dr. Walker and these evaluations and tests were performed. This was all done via telehealth, okay? So the cross-examination's angle is due to the evaluation being via video conference, the doctor was not able to observe Megan's body language. Now, the doctor stated that she did ask Megan Thee Stallion to stand up, but she never said why she asked her to stand up. Now I like the fact that I come home and unwind and, get my household in order. I don't even look over the notes. I just think about some of the stuff, once I get all my chores and everything else done. And then I literally open my notebook and hit record to record the video. Like, I don't want to mull over the notes. I want to give them time to simmer and also give myself some time to be like, well, maybe she thought this, some alternatives, because in the moment I think one thing, but my mind can change if I ponder on it, right? I think that's everybody. Yeah, she said that she did ask Megan Thee Stallion to stand up. She was never asked. Milagro's lawyer, never asked Dr. Walker, why did you ask her to stand up? What is it that you were attempting to observe by asking her to stand up? The doctor stated that she did ask Megan Thee Stallion to stand up and went on to say her view her view visually. She basically could see Megan Thee Stallion from the waist up, because what Natasha was basically trying to say is, like, you couldn't see if her hands were shaking, you couldn't see if she was tapping her foot, you couldn't gauge her body language, you couldn't measure or see her body language, because Natasha was under the impression, well, she asked, she wasn't under the impression, she asked, like, did you see her from, like, the neck up, from the chest up, like, and then that's when she said that she saw her from the waist up. Okay. All right. I got a red think box here and it reads, Natasha is not really doing a good, this is what I felt at the time. Okay. Keep that in mind. Natasha's really not doing a good job with her questioning. The angle that she's taking with the evaluation being done via telehealth wasn't much. Just because someone does an interview remotely doesn't negate the results of the evaluation. She can still observe body language. Natasha could have been more poised, especially because she was speaking to a tenured, degreed professional. Okay, that was my thoughts at the time. Not much has changed. So we go on, and the doctor, she wasn't following or didn't understand the way that Natasha formatted the questions. She kept asking her to repeat stuff. Remember, she's an older woman. And, sometimes when you're talking to older people, you can't talk so fast. They don't understand half of what you're saying. They probably can't even hear real well. Dr. Walker, again, she's an older lady. She's walking with a cane, so... Or was it a cane? Yeah, I don't want to say walking stick. She was walking with a cane. Okay. So like, you gotta be patient. You gotta take your time with older people. Okay. Next, it didn't appear that Natasha was familiar with the process of a forensic psychologist. That's just my assumption. She asked the doctor, in if she interviewed any of Megan Thee Stallion's family. Now, remember, Megan Thee Stallion's main family members are deceased. She's the only child for her mother. Her either her grandmother or her great grandmother passed away, if I'm not mistaken. Megan's mother and father are both deceased. So then she also asked, Natasha asked if the doctor interviewed any of her colleagues, like people that she collaborated with musically, and the doctor said that that wasn't necessary. Um, she also asked, Natasha asked if Dr. Walker interviewed any of her managers. So now Dr. Walker made it very clear that she didn't interview anyone or evaluate anyone except for Megan Thee Stallion. And then Natasha proceeds to ask her, what about her family members? What about her managers? And the doctor said that none of those interviews was necessary. And when it comes to family members, she said, her closest relative is her grandmother, who's an elderly woman, and why would I bother her to interview her? She said she didn't find that necessary. So Natasha asked the doctor, did Megan Thee Stallion ever mention Nicki Minaj? And the doctor answered yes. Excuse me. Natasha asked this doctor if Megan Thee Stallion mentioned that she and Nicki Minaj collaborated and earned her first number one. And I'm saying to myself, you asking this older, respectfully, white woman about Nicki Minaj and collaboration and earning her first number one hit? I'm just saying, I thought that was, I guess I didn't see where she was going yet. Um, the doctor said, no, we didn't discuss that. Natasha also asked this senior, and I put no shade in parentheses, senior white woman, if she heard Minaj's diss track titled Bigfoot, and if she was aware that Minaj claimed Megan Thee Stallion tried to give her, Nicki Minaj, alcohol when she was pregnant. Remember that rumor when they did Hot Girl Summer Remix? And years later on, Nicki Minaj accused Megan Thee Stallion or insinuated that Megan Thee Stallion tried to give her alcohol when Nicki Minaj at the time was pregnant. Child, Dr. Walker ain't know what the hell Natasha was talking about. So I wrote, Natasha is trying to say that Bigfoot made mention of Megan Thee Stallion's mother, trying to say that that's traumatizing. All right, here go my think box. This sounded like something. Oh, I put this sounded like something that Millie would say. No shade. Natasha did not sound sure in her questioning. She wasn't trying. She wasn't tying up these loose ends that she's leaving everywhere. No shade, and that's no shade. Natasha plays a clip from the documentary where Megan says, "I've been drinking like a mother effer." I guess this was that documentary. I think it was on HBO. I didn't see it. And in that one clip, that's what Megan said. And in my red think box, I wrote, even if it was determined that Megan Thee Stallion was an alcoholic, that could be a result of her PTSD. People with PTSD oftentimes try to self-medicate. They try to suppress their feelings. They try to numb the pain. So they engage in reckless behavior, drinking, mood-altering substances, reckless behavior, physical reckless behavior, all types of stuff. So I did put that in my think box. And then I put, you can't diagnose someone with alcoholism just because you see them get drunk on social media occasionally. Social media is not a determining factor to diagnose Megan Thee Stallion. Doctors have specific tests and procedures to diagnose. That was in my red thinks box. All right, moving along. April 24th, 2023, the Gayle interview was released, and Dr. Walker said that she did not watch this interview. Natasha kept asking her about details of the interview, even though the woman stated that she did not see the Gayle King interview. Then she asked about the partisan Fontaine, who's Megan Thee Stallion's ex, video. Her answer, no, I did not. Red think box time. This lawyer's line of questioning for a clinical and forensic psychologist who completed tests and completed an evaluation is crazy. for lack of a better word. Natasha keeps asking Dr. Walker about other people when it was clear that her evaluation consisted of a meeting with Megan Thee Stallion only. In my opinion, the jury is going to have one hell of a time deliberating because some of them seemed lost. Yes, I started paying attention to the jury now. Some of them seemed lost, zoned out, and bored. Okay, two of the jurors seemed engaged, and it was a black male and a white male at the time that I was looking at them during this line of questioning. All right, we almost done, y'all. We almost done. How long we been on here? Oof, an hour and a half. If you still here, please like the damn video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. All right. Natasha didn't do, this is my thoughts. Natasha didn't do a good job cross-examining. Dr. Walker emphasized that she can't give an opinion on people who she doesn't know. All right. And I said, duh, why would you ask someone, a clinical forensic psychologist at that, who has no knowledge of someone, what their opinion of them is? Dr. Walker was gentle with Natasha when explaining to her how evaluations work, and I put LOL. So the red think box, Natasha seemed nervous, uncertain, and not familiar with the questions that she read. It seemed like the questions were written for her, and it was her turn at the podium. LOL. Again, no shade. If I do an evaluation and my only subject is Megan Thee Stallion and my results are solely based on my evaluation after observing and testing my subject, in this case Megan Thee Stallion, why would you be asking me about anything other than my subject? All right, that's all I got for the red think box on this one. Next up, we're coming to a close, y'all. Natasha, she asked about the standardized test that Megan Thee Stallion was given. The doctor explained how standardized tests worked. Dr. Walker didn't create the test. She did review and evaluate the results, though. Cross examination. So that's Natasha had no more questions, and then Megan's lawyer is back up. Okay, question that she asked Dr. Walker: did any other bloggers come up when you communicated with Megan Thee Stallion? Any other bloggers besides Milagro? Dr. Walker said no, and court was done for the day. That was it. So I thought, what did I think about Natasha? She probably is a lovely, lovely girl, a lovely lady, but she was not certain. She was not sure. It just seemed like she was just reading questions off of the paper. She didn't really understand the line of questioning. Maybe she's new. I don't know. It's not a slight to her. It's just my observation. I do think that the psychologist, I think she did what needed to be done. She's a professional. She's been in this game for years, and she has testified at many a trial. What do you guys think about her being paid $20,000 plus her fee of $5,000 per day anytime she has to, be somewhere and she's out of the office? She did talk about that she teaches. I don't remember what school she said she teaches at, but she's more of a teacher now. And she still, does evaluations. She got a lot of skin in the game. That lady probably ready to retire. Do you think that she was bought and paid for? I could understand both sides. If you think that the doctor is bought and paid for, I can understand why you say that. But then on the flip side of that, if you want me to come to court and testify, why do you think that I would testify for free? I'm taking time away from my work to come testify. Yes, I evaluated you. Yes, I worked with you because I was hired to do so. But why do you think that I should come to this court case for free? She gave statements to the court. She showed her paperwork. She showed the test results and the evaluation. So she obviously worked with Megan Thee Stallion, and she has the documentation to substantiate her diagnosis. She's licensed to diagnose. She's a clinical and forensic psychologist, right? And she also broke down how she came to the conclusion that Megan Thee Stallion is diagnosed with PTSD. She did mention, Megan's childhood and how she grew up, the passing of her mother, her father not being in the home for a period of time and then returning and shortly after that passing away, how she grew up. She was made fun of because of her height. So she was insecure about that. She also pointed out how she went on to do good in school. She obviously became successful. She's Megan Thee Stallion. So she sat with her for 3 hours, which was a substantial amount of time for her to do the evaluations. And like I said, being involved with something as traumatic as whatever the hell happened that night would definitely cause somebody to have post-traumatic stress disorder. The scene itself looked hectic. So I can't even imagine what happened in real time and what everybody was doing in real time prior to us seeing that TMZ helicopter footage. Right? All right, so this video has been long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Those are all my notes, okay? Day 3 of the trial was good. This was interesting. So T Farris, tell me what you think about his commentary. Tell me what you think about Daniel's commentary and Dr. Walker. All right, so drop down in the comments and share your thoughts. This is going to be coming out on, this video is going to be airing on Thursday because of I'm recording it so late, and then it has to process and it has to upload. So you're probably watching this on Thursday, but this was day 3 of the trial, which took place on Wednesday. So by the time you're listening to this, I'll probably be in court. Okay, getting ready and writing notes until my knuckles bleed for day 4. All right. So welcome to all of the new subscribers. Thank you so much for your comments, your likes, your shares, your subscription. Like I said, drop down in the comments and share your thoughts. Keep it respectful. All right. Everybody has a difference of opinion. People have difference of opinions all the time. It is okay. We can disagree respectfully. All right. Let's just keep it cute in the chat. All right, y'all. I'm signing off. I really, really love you for watching, and I will talk to you later.